Okay. We are starting with chapter 5, the law of consistency. So as I was saying, love the chapter. I think I have more highlighted in this chapter than I have in many of my books. And I think it was because the nuggets, like just the quotes that they were saying, or he was saying, or he was referring to, there's just so much that was being just, I don't know, pulled out for me. So I just want to start real quick at the very beginning, and then I'm just going to let you guys come in. The first thing on the title page was the law of consistency. Motivation gets you going. Discipline keeps you growing. And that's obviously the main topic through the whole thing today. But I can't tell you how truer of a statement this has been for me. We've had a lot of people ask, well, how do you get momentum, and how are you so motivated? Like, how, just those questions. And motivation doesn't always come. Okay. In this business, actually, Erin was talking about this today, like all the momentum and excitement came pushing for Leaders Retreat. Then you just kind of need to take a breath, and you take a breath, and then like it's still there, but it's hard to get remotivated. And you guys, it happens for me too. Like, I was exhausted after pushing for Emerald. Like, I was still here and I was doing things, but my motivation was less. So how do you get remotivated? By being disciplined to keep doing what you're doing. Okay. I have a quote up here. I think it's Denise. Are you the one that says what's all over your walls? You watch me look. Was it you? I have all these sticky notes right here. I have my daily to-dos. I have my dry erase board, but this is one of my sticky notes that's there, and it says motivation. Action comes first, then the feelings. Okay. So if you're like, I want to be motivated, well, you got to start by doing some actions, and the motivation builds up. And obviously there's a lot of that he talks about in here. So, but I just want to go ahead and open it up to all of you guys, and just tell me what you loved about this chapter and how you connected with it.
All right, I'll go. Tracy, same here. This chapter, I feel like through this book, this one has spoke to me the most. I feel like that motivation quote about the action is so true. I was reading the book, all I kept thinking about is month to month, the end of the month push. And then that first week into the next month, it's always like, all right, and you feel unmotivated to get going. But then once you finally get back going and start do, it's like all of a sudden you fall back into that hill climb again, and you get going. So this book, this chapter, really, I felt like connected to everything that I think I've been struggling with, trying to make changes with.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Love it. You were talking about the connecting with, I think of like the chapters that you've connected with. I think the reason we connect with this chapter so much as Plexus is because the word consistency, we talk about it in the products, and not just in the products, but in the business. Some of you have been around long enough to know my power partner, Cameron McMillan. Like, her line is consistency is sexy. And that's her thing. She tells her team all the time, like, consistency is sexy. It's a sexy word. It's a sexy thing. Like, just, and you get that going in your head, and it's like, it's true. Like, and I just love it because that word is very much more of a, I don't know, trigger word for Plexus, other than, the stuff we've covered before. I think the other stuff is great. It's built up. It's personal. But this is more practical for us as business builders too. Okay, next, who else?
I'll jump in. One of the things that really resonated with me was on page 71, where he says, the successful person has the habit of doing the things that failures don't like to do. The successful person doesn't like to do them either, but his dislike is subordinated to the strength of his purpose. And I just loved it because, like, successful people aren't wired differently. They don't, it's not like, well, they have something I don't, they must, enjoy doing those things. They just, the strength of their purpose is so great that they get over it and they just do it. So it's just I don't know, that really stuck out to me.
Yep. The Diamonds always say, nothing different between you and me. I've just had a lot more no's. You know, and they all say that. They're like, I just didn't give up, you know, and I think there's a lot of truth to that. I also think that there's a lot of growth in successful people, you know, like if you're talking about just like success in their journey or success in their growth. I was talking to, even Nicole was commenting on how much I've grown in the 2 years that she's seen me. And I'm like, I feel it. Like in the last 6 months, I have felt it, but it's because I've committed to my growth. I knew that if I was going to have a team of almost 850 now and like, you know, having this many leaders and doing these coaching calls that I'm doing, that I have to be someone different. Like I have to grow. And like when you commit to your growth as much as you commit to your business, I think you'll see change. At least that's how I'm feeling. Next.
One of the things that stuck out to me, and I can't tell you what page it's on because I'm on my Kindle, but it was a line that said, because what I did was try to improve myself, not just my job or position. That really stuck with me because in the past, before Plexus, I would try to be a better teacher, a better mother, a better wife, whatever, but I kept feeling like I was failing at that because I wasn't happy with myself. I wasn't improving myself. And so since I have turned that around and have poured into me, it just naturally has poured into those other areas and has made me happier and just more productive and a better, you know, person in all of those different areas.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good. I don't remember where that's at either, but that's good. Next. Anyone else?
I didn't really, I don't know. The consistency is, I don't think it's the biggest of my problems because I love consistency.
Mm-hmm.
It actually throws me off when something is not consistent. So like when I started Plexus, we had very regular team calls, I think. It was in March, April, and then all of a sudden they weren't anymore. And I'm like, well, what's happening? You know, the regularity is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but what I really liked about this chapter was the different types, the phlegmatic and the colorists,
Mm-hmm.
you know, all these different, and the one that is always showing up at every party. And then there's the melancholic. And I think that's me, the one with the detail is their strength.
Yep.
Because I always need to have the details straight. And so I think that's the one that I have to focus on, to not always be afraid of making mistakes and just, you know.
Mm-hmm. We did this personality test in Hawaii. It wasn't a personality test, but it was a activity. And I need to find out what the name of it was and share with you guys, but it was so cool. So they had us all stand up in a room and they had 4 corners and they would ask a question and you would go stand in the corner of which you best answered 1, 2, 3, or 4. And it was either, you know, you're going to say an opportunity event or a meeting or something. How do you show up? Show up early because you want to mingle with the people that are there. Show up just right ahead of time, but you got your pencil and paper because you want to take a lot of notes. You show up right on time and you might have a pen or a paper with you, or you come when you're always late or something like that. Like, and it was a little bit different each, where you kind of read all 4 and you're like, I don't really know, but you took a minute and you're like, nah, I'm totally a 2 or whatever. And you'd go to your corners and how they utilize the against each other, I guess, how the 2s felt versus how the 4s felt, was that each position, no one was wrong in where they were. It's just how they worked. So 1s and 4s could totally work together, but that they have their own strengths. That's not a weakness where they're at, but this is their, you have to figure out what their strength is to work together. And there were many questions, and it opened our minds to what our team is made up of. Like we have, and this is similar to what I was reading, we have all 4 of these people on this call right here. The people who are easygoing, likable, the ones that want to take charge and make decisions, the ones that are the life of the party, the ones that are attention to detail. And what I crave about this is that hopefully when we get through this more, we're going to all be able to like know who we are in that area and bring it to the team and be like, okay, I'm really good at attention to detail, so let me handle that part. Like, before, like as a leader, I want to be able to delegate, but maybe I delegate, something to Rona, and I'm like, hey, why don't you do this? Like, I feel like you're the life of the party. She's like, whoa, that's not me. Like, I need some attention to detail. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing that as a team, we need to be able to speak up and advocate for ourselves and where our strengths lie, but also, utilize, like, start to recognize and utilize other people for their strengths. So, and again, I totally, that's my fault on the consistency in team calls. So there we go. Let's see. I love this. I'm just going to read this. On page 73, if you want to gain momentum and improve your motivation, begin by setting goals that are worthwhile but highly achievable. Master the basics, then practice them every day without fail. Small disciplines repeated with consistency every day lead to great achievements gained slowly over time. That right there tells me IPAs, right? Like when we're talking about our business. If you reach out every day without fail, you will gain customers and you will gain business builders. And you will create a follow-up procedure, like with your current customers, with the ones you want to upgrade, that it is a natural, you care about your people. I know that when I have failed is when I wasn't doing it daily. Like that really is the biggest thing. I will say, like, I love the worthwhile but highly achievable, because I'm talking about this and doing in all my coaching calls. Like milestones, like we want something to celebrate. Like, yes, we have a goal, but somewhere in here, we'll talk about it. I'm sure someone will bring it up, but it's like appreciate the journey. It's when they're talking about growth, goal setting and growth setting, or whatever it is, it's toward the end. But are you just focused on your goal, or are you focused on the journey, right? Right now, I'm breaking things down for the team and the leaders to really look at what's your 90 days look like? What's your end of your goal of 90 days to look like? Okay, well, let's backtrack a little bit and figure out what your monthly goal should be. Okay, well, let's backtrack. Well, what are your action items to get to that monthly goal? So what are those small things that are going to help you reach that milestone of this that gets you a little bit closer to your end goal? So that's something that I feel, I miss a lot, even just in recognizing. And I already have a sticky note. I want to recognize people that have added people this month and have 500 PV this month, because that's huge. Like, to already be here, like, we need to celebrate that. It's like the 11th of the month, and we've had a lot of people already adding team members and at 500 PV. So that's just something that, like, those small little disciplines with consistency, that's what's going to create those big achievements. I'm just going through the book. Anyone else have anything yet they want to add?
Yeah, I'll add something.
Yeah.
This is like, if I think of any quote my mom always said growing up was, good things come to those who wait. And I hated that. It was just like, oh, as a kid, you're like, come on, like, I don't want to wait for that anymore. But I think that as I get older, I kind of like take a little more for that. But anyways, it says, there's a part in there about patience. I don't know what page it's on either, because I have my Kindle. It says
74 for patience on us.
Yeah, have patience. All things are difficult before they become easy. That's wise advice. Most people never realize how close they are to achieving significant things because they give up too soon. I just think that's like everything worthwhile in life takes dedication and time. The people who grow and achieve the most are the ones who harness the power of patience and persistence.
Yes.
So I just think that was like really big, and just saying like, if you have patience and you do those little things day in and day out, the difficult things become easy. So I just thought that was really simple, but like kind of nailed it on the head.
Yep. Have you ever heard the quote? Someone said, I don't know if it was on our larger team or something, but it was, this doesn't get easier. We just get better, or we get wiser, or something like that. Yeah. And I think that's so true. It doesn't get easier, but what we are doing, we're developing. So we're growing, and it's just we're either getting more efficient or more effective with what we're doing. Yeah, I love that. On that page up above, I tried to make a graphic of this because I think this quote is so awesome. If you want to grow, don't try to win big, try to win small. Andrew Wood asserted, where many people go wrong in trying to reach their goals is in constantly looking for the big hit, the home run, the magic answer that suddenly transform their dreams into reality. The problem is that the big hit never comes without a great deal of little hits first. Success in most things come not from gigantic stroke of fate, but from simple incremental progress. And I think like in this business, so many go silver. That's that simple, small, that first step. They go silver, and to them, it feels like the home run. Like, cause that's that first promotion. It feels like the first big thing. So then it's, okay, well, gold should be like that too. Well, that's not the case. Some people, they can just hit it out of the ballpark and be gold. Others, it's going to take that, the consistency, the little increments, those daily tasks to really work towards that next promotion. So, yeah, I love that. I thought it was so good. And it totally reminds me, like I talk to my kids about this all the time. Like, when for example, my son, he had to read a book for Wednesday, and he was like, I'll just read it all on Sunday. He's been reading it for a few days, but he didn't get very far. And I'm like, okay, well, listen, it has to be done by Wednesday. So you need to do it in pieces. You can do some on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Here's how many pages you need to read each day, and it will lessen your load for the rest of the week. So he'd started it, I think Friday or Saturday, like what he needed to. And then Sunday, I was driving home, and he would read for 30 minutes and then play like 10 minutes on his Kindle. And then he would go back to and read. And he did that enough that when he came home that night, he finished the book. And he's like, I don't have to read now on Monday or Tuesday. I'm like, see, like if you break it down, it seems achievable, right? Like, but if I tell you, you have to finish a book by Wednesday, and I mean, he just, I don't know, he's 9 years old but understood that, like, break it down, So I think it's a good lesson learned that it's not always the big hit all in one time. Anyone else?
To kind of go along with that, like I want to talk a little bit about just what you mentioned with silver and gold. Because when I hit silver, it was like that home run. Like I reached my goal, and then like now what? Where when I reached gold, it was an entirely different feeling. I mean, I was happy, but it was more of like, okay, it was a sign of my growth and a stepping stone towards my ultimate goal, which was diamond. So it was a totally different mindset.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes along with the quote from the book too, like just instead of being goal conscious, I focus on being growth conscious.
Yeah.
So that's where my mindset has shifted to. It's not like, I mean, I do have goals to help me get, to grow in certain areas, I guess, but it's more focused on just overall growth, personal development, and growing as a leader, growing as, a teacher, just like in all the different areas.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good. The valuing the process, that was kind of like what I referred to earlier, where it was talking about like enjoying the journey. And I don't know, this one is like the quote of life goals are reached by setting annual goals reached by setting daily goals. But the daily goals are reached by doing things which may be uncomfortable at first, but eventually become habits. Habits are powerful, and they turn into attitudes, and attitudes turn into lifestyle. And where's the thing? I have something up here about attitude. Oh, I think I lost my sticky note. But I've referred to it before. If you guys, I don't know if you remember it, but it had to do with the changing your attitude to where if you go down that path, how you can flip a switch and go back the other way. Like it is like you have that like blocker of, okay, I can do this today. Like you wake up in the morning, I can do this today, but something is thrown at you, something happens to your car or your kids, and you start to go down that path of like, nope, not going to get it done today. Like at some point you got to be able to like turn the switch off and say, no, I can do this. I'm still going to get it done today. And it's all controlled on your attitude. And if you do that daily, I think it's in here, maybe it's a little bit later. If you do it daily where you wake up, you feel like you're ready to accomplish the day, you go to bed feeling satisfaction, like, okay, I did it. If you do that daily, that's just like your positive affirmations. But if you have that attitude and you do that daily, it becomes a habit. It becomes a habit that's how you wake up. I seriously put that video, I don't know if you guys saw it, of like Braylon dancing this morning, because the kids leave for school, we turn on music and we dance. Like that's what we do, and that's how I get my day going, and we do the dishes, and I don't know, like that's just a thing I do. Sometimes it's my worship music. It depends on my mood, depends on the weather, like, but we have a thing, and that's how your attitude just gets set. So I just like that part too, and how your habits and what you do daily really do make a big difference on your attitude and your lifestyle. Let's move on. I want to hear you guys talk about the why part, because obviously the why test really goes to our why. Like, how many of you actually like took that question or read those questions and answered yes to them or no? Where were you on that?
I said yes to a lot of them. Oops.
No,
it's just a really the first one, like procrastinating an important task. Like I work all day, and when I get home, I'm like, man, and it is literally sometimes hard for me to like be like, do not sit on that couch. Do not sit on that couch.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, and then it's like, do you require coaxing to do small chores? Yeah, in my brain, I tell myself, like, well, if you finish that, you get to go do this. Like, it's like, I don't have a mom telling me to do anything anymore, but.
And then you eat your dinner, you'll get dessert.
Yeah, and sometimes even with Plexus, I'm like, if you just finish these last 3 IPAs, like, you can go to bed.
Yep.
So it's like, it's not always like a negative thing, I think, with some of it, but talking negatively about your work, I was just complaining this weekend about how much I hate my job. So I think, yeah, I said yes to a lot of them, but it just kind of makes you think like, even if you're saying yes to those things, it's not motivating you to grow in any sort of way, even if it's Plexus or not, so it's, I don't know, kind of just eye-opening to not complain so much, I guess.
Yeah.
But
yep. If your growth is connected to your values, dreams, and purpose, you'll know why you're doing it. And I love that people's whys shift and change based on their season or their life. Mine definitely has, and over this journey with Plexus, my whys changed, and I'm sure some of you guys already have too. But answering some of these questions really just brings your attention to where are you spending your time thinking and elsewhere, instead of focusing on why you're doing Plexus or why you're doing, something else and involved in something, so that you're giving your all in those areas, and if your mind is in the right spot, you will, if your why is driving you enough, you'll get up every night or be every night in your office or get up early every morning. And I don't want to say every, because I don't every morning, like tomorrow morning I'll be up at 5 because I'm going to do a coaching call at 5 a.m. and then a power hour at 5:30, but I got a big old why. So I have no reason to say no to that, And if you have the motivation you need, discipline's no problem. But if you lack motivation, discipline's a huge problem. So that goes back to action. I remember when I was like in my big rut last fall, I told most of you this, but I did I listened to a Joel Osteen. He's a pastor. I listened to one of his messages on discipline. And it actually turned out to be, I remember, I love YouTube videos. That's how I trained myself basically in Plexus. I'm not a reader. I'm a listener or a visual. And so I was in my rut and I was seriously just searching YouTube, like discipline in your work, like, because I could not get myself to work my Plexus business. Couldn't. This is when I was like super depressed. And I came across that and it was like discipline in like your time with the Lord and discipline in work and all this stuff. And it was so good that I was like, you know what? It's not about being disciplined. It's about having the motivation to get up and do something and actually do it to then have results. And so that's when things really started to turn for me. Let's see. I like the whole timing on goals. Like, do you know when you're supposed to improve? I think just one thing I want to address there is like timing of when you're supposed to grow. Obviously, everyone thinks it's like, you know, when I get to this point, when I get to gold or when I get to senior gold or wherever. Like that's what, first of all, I love that you all are here. I have to say that because here I am just starting this for my first time, like a book club of growth. But everyone always says, you know, when you're having high recruiting months, it's hard to pour into personal growth, okay? But when recruiting's down, your team might not be doing much, and there's not a lot going on in your business, you find time to read or you find time to do personal growth. That's okay. If you have a little time, grow. Like utilize that time to grow. And when you're in, like right now, I am in the busiest I have been probably since I went Emerald. And it's fit in. It still fits in because I know how important the growth is. So just continue to create those habits and being consistent in and working towards growing. I think we kind of all know our goal consciousness versus growth consciousness. Some of those things we talked about. What else do you guys want to add? Anything? Okay, I'll end on this one because I think this needs to go on the customer page. It's on page 79. It says, in the end, hard work is really the accumulation of easy things you didn't do when you should have. It's like diet and exercise. Everyone wants to be thin, but no one wants to make the right choices to get there. It's hard work when you've neither eaten right nor exercised day after day. However, if you make small right choices each day after day, you see results. I think I totally need to put that on the customer page, unless someone wants to volunteer to do it. But I think that that's so important. I mean, we talk about it all the time. And just on the welcome call I had with Becky, I'm like, baby steps, like just start small, like just start baby steps. Because if you try to do too much or you overwhelm yourself, you quit easier because you're like, oh, this isn't for me, or it's not the right time. That's why he even talked about, wasn't it in this book where he talked about, and he likes to do his books in week by week chapters, like bite-sized pieces, because it's easier to like read and process it over a period of time. All right, anything else? Everyone kind of tired tonight? Yes.
I just saw that here. It's time to stop setting goals. I know that for myself, if I set myself a goal and I don't reach it, I get discouraged. I mean, not that I'm stopping, but it's just like annoying, you know. Mm-hmm. I don't really like to put a goal there and then I know I don't reach it, because I'm not really one of those who put a goal up and then I go get it and I'm going to get it. It has to flow. It has to naturally come, because if I put a goal there, then I don't act as natural as I should be. Mm-hmm. So, but I mean, everybody is different, and I just figured that out for myself.
Yeah.
So I have a big goal, but
yeah.
the smaller goal, I can't really put a tag on it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's for like the big goal, like say it's 90 days, however you want to look at it. Like, okay, this is my big goal, my rank advancement or a dollar amount that I want in my paycheck. And then you work it backwards to, okay, what do I need to do this month to help get me there? Okay, I need to add 3 ambassadors and have 1,000 PV. Those are your milestone goals. If you get to 500, celebrate that. I'm halfway there. If you get 1 ambassador, celebrate that. I'm a third way there. It's celebrating those milestones where you're at. We do it at the end of month, and I'm trying to do more of it and recognizing of it. It's hard with a lot of people, but it needs to happen because it is that's what needs to be celebrated is those the things in between all the hard work of getting to that big rank and that next jump. So I wanted to ask, would anybody be willing to lead next week? I'm actually leaving for Leaders Retreat on Wednesday. So I am getting in like Wednesday evening in Florida. So I probably won't be on the call. Anyone want to lead? I know there's more people not on here, so I can ask them if no one wants to volunteer. Okay, I'll ask my other leaders.
I totally would, but knowing me, I'm going to be scrambling packing Wednesday night. So, because I have to work all day Wednesday. And,
I know.
Otherwise, I would.
All righty. Well, you guys have a good night. Thanks for being on.
Tracy, I can.
Hey guys, everybody, real quick, I'm having power hour at 5:30 in the morning.
I'll be there. What'd you say, Ray?
I can do it.
Okay, awesome. Thanks,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, just as long as people will help me.
They will. You just have to call people sometimes. Awkward pause is fun.
Who's doing the power hour in the morning?
Nicole.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you post it on my team page already?
Hey Trace, I don't have the hour-long Zoom though, so could I use yours?
Yes. Yep. So
I'll Zoom us at 5, and then you post your Zoom for the hour. Does that make sense?
Yep, it does. Just post your graphic on my team page, and I will add the link there.
Okay, I'll do it now.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Ray, for leading Chapter 6 next week. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.
Yeah.